Good morning. Today is the 9th of February 2024 and I'm just going to go through my trade plan for today, although I'm pretty sure I may not trade now because I've taken a trade in the pre-market and that was quite a decent trade. I'll go into that as well. Firstly, news today. No major news. We've got Fed speaking at 1:30, so be wary at 1:30. And I'm just going to very quickly go into my trade I took today, and then I'll go through the levels I'm watching. So today I've been watching. I've kind of been studying order flow over the last few weeks, and let me just flick over to my other monitor. So you should be able to see. Let's get rid of the webcam as well. That one. Okay, so you should be able to see on the screen right now is my order flow setup, and what I'm looking at I mainly pay attention to the top right corner, which is the volumetric charts on NinjaTrader, or their footprint charts everywhere else, and that shows the bid and ask. And what I'm watching for is high volume of bid and ask over at the areas of support and resistance. And of course my door rings. Give me 2 seconds, I will be right back. I'm sorry about that. So obviously packages only get delivered at exactly 2 PM here in the UK for some reason. I always get someone knocking on the door. Normally I ignore it, but it's waiting for a signature. Right, so on my screen is the footprint charts we're just talking about, and I used this to take my first trade today. What I was watching for on the data candle, even though I didn't see that there was any data coming in today at 9 AM, but what I was watching for on that screen was areas of high volume up in the top highs of the candle. And what really drew my attention was this level here, 700. You could take it two ways. That's either 700 aggressive buyers, but we're quite extended, and it's more likely 700 passive sellers or limit orders sitting up there waiting to trigger. And so I saw that, and I was looking for an unusually high number. I went short just a little bit below it, and I used confirmation of that, being that we had limit orders up there. This chart here shows me like a profile of the candle where all the heavy buying and selling is. You can see there's lots of heavy selling there as well. And then we saw selling come in just as we pushed down. This is a 5-minute footprint chart. So I put my order in there, my stop was just below there. My first out was around there, and I was waiting for the highs of this candle, but I was watching, again, using these volumetric or footprint charts as a guide, and I was using the cumulative delta, and what I was seeing was that the price was coming down, but the cumulative delta was just going sideways or slightly rising, so there's a bit of a imbalance between the two. So I got out just about there, and it would have got my original my second target. But if you look at the candlesticks as well, they're all bottom tails. If you go to the 5 minute, if you look at the 5 minute, I just changed to 5 minute for a second. I use a 1 minute volumetric. You see it's all bottoming tails as well, and we had decline in volume. You can't see that. If I go back onto my monitor, my middle screen, so you had decline in volume here, lots and lots of bottom tails, and obviously it actually hit my target, but I got out a little bit earlier than that. So that's my trade for today, decent trade, and again that was using order flow, cumulative delta, and volume. So I've got some levels for today, we'll go through them now, and I'm only going to trade A+ setups today. So let's go into the hourly. So the first area, or the only area I'm really watching for, is this is basically a scalp because it's against a trend, and obviously I had the cumulative, what you call it, the footprint charts as my confirmation, and so what I'm really watching for is this level here, yesterday's high, or was that day before yesterday's high, and it happens. Oh, it was yesterday's high as well. So there you go, it's a double place there. So I'm looking for it to pull back into this area. 5,020 for a bounce. That's the only play I'm really watching for today. Short, maybe I might consider watching for a double top up here again, 50.44. So if we do come back up, look for a potential short, but we've got a stop loss there. We've got a defined stop loss, so that should be a low risk trade because we're not trying to catch a falling knife. We are pretty extended on the daily as well, so we are due a bit of a pullback, and something to note as well on the daily is decline in volume and increase in price. So that's showing that there's less and less conviction from the buyers, and you know, a pullback's probably on the cards. We are pretty extended, we're quite far away from the 20, quite some distance from the 50, and some distance away from the 200, and like a magnet it will probably want to come back down towards those areas. So when we get that pullback, we don't know, so until we get a pullback I'm just going to play the trend and wait for pullbacks into areas I'm watching for a long trade. Sticking with the trend, I got burnt quite badly this week by going against the trend, and in fact this big candle here, I was trying to short at every level which I thought was levels, and it just didn't work very well. So back to playing safe and with the trend, and only A+ setups. Today's short was a scalp short, and I took that because I saw confirmation, and obviously I've just been watching for better setups using order flow, and that was a good confirmation and it worked perfectly. So let's look at SPY next. SPY, we've got a similar area, 49.70, yesterday's high. So if we see a pullback into that area, we can watch for a particular bounce. And again, we could go with a 50108 rejection using a very tight stop. That's a potential trade. Other than that, if we do come back down into the lows of yesterday, we can watch for a double bottom back down in this area. And we've got the rise in 50 moving average, which will probably come into contact with that area around at the same time. Last time we touched it, we had quite a decent reaction to it. So we can expect the same until it doesn't. Qs, similar to what we just talked about, it's kind of had a reaction to the 50 there, big reaction, but that was data drop. Last time, let's go in, hang on, this is the, that looks better, this is the hourly. Okay, ignore that what I said, I thought it didn't seem right. So 50 happens to be around the area of these pivots, and today's bounce levels will be yesterday's high, and that will be around 433.60 for a bounce. And the next area I quite like would be 430 to 431. Nasdaq, let's put that back to 5, put that back to 1 hour because I've been playing around with the charts. And Nasdaq, yesterday's high again, same as Qs. Watch for a bounce around that area. Still running along this trend line, even though we broke through the trend line briefly a couple of days ago. So we've got these two connected, and we broke through, retested the top of that trend line, then we came back through. We tested it there as well. You see we pushed through, pulled back, which reconfirmed that this trend line is still in play. Came back again yesterday, pre-market, confirmed this trend line is still in play, but things are starting to tighten up a bit now. Tested it again during the day, and we're running along it in the post-market and pre-market. So this trend line is still in play, so watching for a break of structure before we even consider shorts. But we can use it as a bounce area as well. So yesterday's high happens to be exactly on the trend line as well. So watch for that area, 17,900. Oil. Kind of went sideways. No, we had a nice push up yesterday. In an uptrend on the hourly, kind of putting in this little cup and handle pattern. Exactly what you want to see. Now we should expect it to break over the pre-market highs. So if we watch where we are now for a break and retest, but we are coming into a demand zone. It's now area supply. Let's change that. And we've got a little bit of volume. We're right at volume at the moment. You can see this area here, high volume. So coming into volume. So probably not really a decent long at the moment. It's got to get over that pivot. So if it gets over 77, we can watch for the next move up to 78 and a possible rejection at 78. Could also watch for a possible rejection around this area as well. Gold, putting in a bit of a, I'm not sure if you can put that in there. Let's use that one instead. What do you call it? A wedge pattern. Quite see it clearly at the bottom. One to keep an eye on. So we've got two ways. We're in a bit of an hourly uptrend. We're going to look at the daily. This is a daily. I meant sorry. So in a bit of a daily uptrend, but we kind of started to narrow down. So what we can expect: break above 20.76. Break. A bit of a. I'll start again. So a break above that area, come back in for a long entry to continue the trend, or if we break the structure of this trend line, downward trend, a break, retest into that area 20.39, and then watch it for a push down potentially. So that's the only two outcomes I can see there. Look at it on the hourly for a sec. So it's in the lower half of this, so it's looking kind of bouncing off of this level here at 20.56, and we kind of hold in this 20.39 level. Break down below it, we can watch for a push back up in the hourly, so similar to the daily. We've got a target. First two targets can be those pivots, and if we get past this area, we've got this 20.48 hourly level to watch for. Okay, so next we've got the Russell 200. Not a very nice chart pattern really on the hourly. Not a big fan of this. Big pipes, big poke up, spiked pre-market highs up there. Probably can look for a rejection of that area for the move back down. We've got this area of resistance as well. Tops of candles. So 2010 is an area we can watch for a rejection. Quite extended as well. Decline in volume, so probably not looking as strong as it wants. Maybe it's a bit tired at the moment. Dow Jones still in this uptrend. Let's just link these together. In fact, you could probably link this one together as well. Kind of putting in that ascending wedge pattern, but we did break it. and we're now retesting it now. So there's a potential long right now at yesterday's high. It's already touched it, so it's probably gone, that potential long. Get over that pivot, you might want to continue the trend up. So watch for a trend continuation. If we get a nice pullback down into this area, would be a great entry. You can see we've kind of honoured this trend line a few times. And that's it really, no more really. Don't really want to like to reject a strong uptrend. SPX, I think it touched 5,000, did it yesterday? And we got very, very close to it. And we've obviously had a bit of a drift up over the pre-market, so it's obviously when it opens it'll be above 5,000, and that was a potential rejection area. So keep an eye on that, either a break and retest or a rejection in that area if it pushes down below it. Bitcoin was been strong, look at that, really strong. That's the hourlies, going to the daily for a second. Did it get to 48,000, close to 48,000, very strong today. And we've got a few alerts set out for potential profit targets. One's at 52, bring that down again. Probably 50 is a better profit target area because it's more of a round number. Might expect a bit of a rejection of that area, 50,000. And then we've got a couple of areas we can watch later on up here, and obviously all-time highs. But looking strong. And obviously that little blip here hasn't phased it at all, so it's still trending up, and it's in an uptrend as well. So what's it going to do next? Who knows? Okay, that's it really. Let's just look at MES and SPY again, or MES, see if there's anything. Hasn't come that down to yesterday's low yet. That's the area to watch for. Let's go into 1 hour. This is 1 hour chart again. So quite like the bounce off of yesterday's high, which is 50,020. And if we come back down, the bounce off of yesterday's low happens to also be this trend line. And not much volume down that area. That's why I quite like the bounce at the yesterday's high, because there's a bit more volume in this general area. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's just look at yesterday's volume. Yeah, it's all down here, so there's not much volume up here, so we really need to see it pull back down to continue the trend. Big volume spike in the pre-market. Don't usually get big spikes like that, I suppose. We had one yesterday, that's coming into the open. But not an hour before the open anyway. Normally you get it just coming up 9 o'clock through to 10 o'clock, that candle, but the 8 AM, the 8 to 9 candle is usually not as big unless there's a big data drop. I didn't see much news today, so I'm not sure why that candle's there. If you know what that news is, put a comment in, please. I'd be interested to know. I think it's enabled, yeah. But when I looked at the economic calendar, nothing at 8 AM. Yeah, if you know, leave me a comment. Be interested to know. And that's it really. So watching for trend continuation, higher probability down here, higher risk, but we got a defined stop loss of, we got a rejection, double top potentially, and then I'm going to be keep an eye on order flow again. So I've been watching that now for the last few days, and today it worked perfectly up here. Wasn't a random get in because it's spike. I suppose you could have done that, but it was definitely a I'm trying to work out on the level 2 what is limit orders and what is aggressive buying market orders, and the order flow seems to be the closest I can get, and so that's the reason why I quite like watching it. And you can make a best guess assumption based on, let's move this order flow in again. So for example, on this one here, when you get to see high volume, I know it's a data candle, high volume in that area, you can kind of assume that's either aggressive buyers or passive sellers up here. And if it's an area of support and resistance, or an area of like the all-time high, big poke up. You can probably higher probability that it's going to be limit orders sitting there rather than aggressive buyers, and there's no follow through, which also helped confirm it. Whereas you compare the top of that candle, they're quite low volume, even when you come down into this area, quite low volume. Haven't really seen any higher volume. That one there, potential limit orders, but probably more aggressive selling. Anyway, market opens in 9 minutes. So remember, A+ setups only, and for me today, no chasing, no FOMO, no revenge trading, and if it doesn't work out, then just sit on hands. Okay,